We can start with the history of evolution. The theory of evolution is one of the greatest intellectual revolutions of human history, drastically changing our perception of the world and of our place in it. Charles Darwin put forth a coherent theory of evolution and combined great evidence in support of this theory. In Darwin's time, most scientists fully believed that each organism and each adaptation was the work of the Creator. Linnaeus established the system of biological classification that we use today, and did so in the spirit of cataloging God's creations. The idea that traits are passed down from parents to offspring has been around since the ancient Greek philosophers' time. The late 1700s saw the first theories that species changed over time. The scientists like the Comte de Buffon and Charles Darwin's grandfather Erasmus Darwin both proposed that species changed over time, but neither man could explain how or why they changed. John Baptist Lamarck, a student of the Comte de Buffon, was the first to publicly state species changed over time. The first systematic presentation of evolution was put forth by the French scientist Jean-Baptiste de Lamarck in 1809. Lamarck described a mechanism by which he believed evolution could occur. This mechanism was known as the inheritance of acquired characteristics. On the other hand, part of his theory was incorrect. Lamarck proposed that acquired traits were passed down to offspring. After that, Georges Cuvier was able to prove that part of the theory incorrect, but he also had evidence that there were once living species that had evolved and gone extinct. Cuvier believed in catastrophism, meaning these changes and extinctions in nature happened suddenly and violently. After Cuvier, James Hutton and Charles Lyell countered Cuvier's argument with the idea of uniformitarianism. This theory said changes happen slowly and accumulate over time. But the theory of natural selection was most famously explained by Charles Darwin in his book on the origin of species in 1859. In this book, Darwin proposed that individuals with traits most suitable to their environments lived long enough to reproduce and pass down those desirable traits to their offsprings. If an individual had less favorable traits, they would die and not pass on those traits. Over time, only the fittest traits of the species survived. Eventually, after enough time passed, these small adaptations would add up to create new species. The concept of Darwin's theory is also called as survival of the fittest. Along with Darwin, there was another person who comes with the same idea, Alfred Russel Wallace. Wallace also had evidence and came to the same conclusions as Darwin around the same time. They both worked together for a short time and together presented their results. Prepared with evidence from all over the world due to their various travels, Darwin and Wallace received favorable responses in the scientific community about their ideas. One very important part of the theory of evolution through natural selection is the understanding that individuals cannot evolve, they can only adapt to their environments. Those adaptations add up over time, and eventually the entire species has evolved from what it was like earlier. This can lead to new species forming and sometimes extinction of older species.